Do you have an area of expertise?
You need something doing?
I think it'd be something if someone were to teach him a lesson.
Hi Chris, thank you for being with us on Fan Carpet.
No, thanks for having me.
Could you tell me about your new film, Detour?
Yeah, so Detour is a little film noir thriller about a young kid who becomes suspicious that his stepdad may have had a hand in a road accident that's put his mother in a coma. And when he runs into this rough boy and girl, they kind of discuss options he has available to him, and he makes this decision that maybe that he should hire these two and go and kill him and get him back. At that moment, the story kind of splits, you think, in a sliding doors manner between the version to go and do this action and the version that decides, no, that's crazy, I'm not going to do that and stay at home. And that's what you think's happening. And a number of other things occur to make you realise that all is not what it seems in the story. So it's a little kind of inventive thriller.
Yeah, definitely.
If you could cut yourself in half, when it's over, the two sides, they don't even know what the other one's done. You live your life, clean hands. Would you do it?
Yes.
So, Chris, what made you think of the split-screen duality of the film?
Well, I just finished writing Triangle. This is back in 2007, and I was in LA with my producer trying to raise finance for it. Disturbia had just been in the cinema, which was a real hit, and the studios were trying to find other, film noir type thrillers that they could get behind. And one of the producers that was, recommended to us said, we're keen to try and do something like Strangers on a Train. Two people meet and discuss how to kill each other's husband or partner. And I kind of, for some reason, I think because my brain was so embroiled in the twists and turns and structure of Triangle, immediately applied a kind of odd little narrative twist to it. So it came about really, I think, just because my brain was in that place. And then I thought it was a kind of a cool idea to try and show that whatever decision you make, any of these bad decisions to kill, the person who's made that decision for the rest of his life is walking side by side with the memory and why did I do that? What got me to that point, and what were the key moments that led me to murder?
And during the film, it's almost a game of chess.
Mm-hmm.
Who's in charge? Who's playing who? What made you sort of go down that route?
I'm glad you say that, because I think one of the harder elements, one of the elements I don't like so much about Triangle is that because it's so driven by the central performance and the central character, it's very hard to really get off that, almost roller coaster of, Jess's journey in Triangle. And I thought what I wanted to do now, if I ever did structure again, is to try and get you to understand and appreciate and like the other characters that are in this story. So, and that was in the script, the idea that you don't know who you can trust, and I think it was made better and more enforced by the casting. I think Belle Powley had a very clear idea of how she wanted to approach the Cherry character, really, in the sense that she was in a breakup with the boyfriend. Emery Cohen playing Johnny Ray, when he had a very similar idea that these two are being forced apart, and obviously Ty is not involved in that triangle. But you realise gradually that each of those people is not all that they seem, and the guy that's bad, you realise actually he's not so bad. Actually, by the end, the bad guy's the good guy, and the good guy's the bad guy, but not in the classic film noir sense. Just with a subtle feeling that I don't think I like you anymore. I think I prefer him. Yeah. And that all came about really from just being with the actors and before we started shooting, working out that could happen.
And, in this film, the way the plot's laid out, everything leads to a consequence. What do you think about life and what consequences it can lead you to? Yeah,
I believe that there's no, someone says, like, don't tempt fate. Yeah. That's just absolute, nonsense. There's no rhyme or reason to anything. The good are rewarded, the bad are punished. The bad are rewarded, the good are punished. It's like nature. I'm more inclined towards the kind of nature's cruel Terrence Malick version. I think in this story, and I think in film noirs, obviously fate plays a very big hand. But I think, as we show in the story, fate can help you get out of trouble. There's a couple of moments where blind chance can save you in life, but I think, I think the movie, because it's a film noir, it has more of a fatalistic approach to things. But I think what you understand in the last shot of the movie is that actually all the planning, all the scheming in the world that you have, you never get away with what you do. And funny enough, chatting to the actor who worked in my film Severance, Andy Nyman, who I know you know, his play and now film Ghost Stories is about the ghosts are the memories that you either carry with you of people who've died, or things you've done wrong. And I think that's so true. And I think that's what this film's about in the end.
As the film concludes, it does conclude, but it also leaves it open to a possible follow-up. Have you thought about that?
Well, I think I haven't really. I mean, I don't think I could ever imagine doing a sequel per se. I could do a part 2 of this story, but for me this story ends badly. You know, it's in the sense that there's a victory, but it's a hollow victory, because you're left. You can't undo what you've done, and that's what the film's about. You can only learn to live with it, and that's the hardest part. Some people, though, I mean, one of my favourite Woody Allen films is Crimes and Misdemeanors. Some people can commit a murder and move on. Yeah. They just can. And we're not talking serial killers, we're talking people that just stick it in a box. Yeah. And the character of Harper, played by Ty Sheridan, he's not going to be able to do that. Yeah. You see from the beginning he's a thinker and a worrier, and I think so. But maybe with time the end would be that they live happily ever after, and there's no consequence for their... I like the line that came off screen, which is, why don't you just call a lawyer? He's a rich kid, he could have just called a lawyer. And it's really funny when people do something, they then make all the wrong mistakes. They accidentally kill somebody, and what they should do is call the police and say, I've had a fight, and I've punched my girlfriend, I've murdered her, she's died, hit her head on the mantelpiece. Instead, they bury them, and then they go into jail for the rest of their lives. So I know, but nobody wants to do any prison time at all. This seems to be the case.
True. And what follows next for you after this? What projects have you lined up?
Well, I've got 2 films, and I'm doing a film called The Judas Goat, which is much more of a kind of horror movie, but it's a horror put it this way, it's based upon a Turkish, I can't say the name of it yet until I'm allowed to, a sort of Turkish drama. So it's got a very kind of art house, austere kind of beginning, but it's about what would happen if a very mundane serial killer, someone like an Ian Brady, someone who's not physically strong, he's just a terrible person, if he were to get out, and what would happen. And it's about a story that unfolds in that kind of world, where someone isn't physically strong, isn't physically anything, and it's based on realism. And I'm doing a thriller called The Undertaker, which is much more of a kind of like Lee Marvin movie, but about with a little glimmer of the troubles in Northern Ireland, but mostly about today and the peace process and stuff.
With the films under your belt, what appeals to you more, horror or thriller, or combined?
It's not just the. I mean, I'm drawn to those stories, but the 2 films I found easiest to work on were Severance and Get Santa. So bizarrely, things that are funny I'm more naturally drawn to, but I'm also drawn. I have a darkness that I find. I do find the world that you can do in thriller. I think they're both the same to me. I think The Judas Goat is more of a thriller. In fact, if you look, depending on your position, probably the only 2 horrors I've done are Creep and Severance. And the others are horror, but they're kind of, they're more like Triangle's a brain teaser. I think I like all of them really. But I was just saying that comedy could be something I think I'd rather do as a comedy.
You made the right choice. If you hadn't come, you'd be sitting at home right now thinking about what could have been instead of what is.
You're not the killing type.
And in concluding, what would you say the one thing that anybody should take away from watching Detour?
The one thing
about life.
About the one thing about life, I think. Yeah, I think I think is the last is the coda really. It's that you if you got murder, or if a man's got vengeance on his brain, he should dig 2 graves, one for the body and one for himself. It's kind of like old Chinese saying. I heard another very famous saying which made me laugh, which is an old Arab saying, if 2 fish are fighting in the sea, the British are behind it. Which I thought is certainly true of our country's past, exactly. Not our future.
Well, maybe with the election coming, but that's a great way to conclude.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much. Cheers, mate. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Well, I got you all wrong, didn't I?
You got me just right.
Walk away from me.
Thank you for watching The Fan Carpet. If you like this video, be sure to click that thumbs up button at the bottom of your screen. And also be sure to subscribe to the Fan Carpet YouTube channels. They're absolutely free and so much fun too. Be sure to check out the official website, thefancarpet.com. Also, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to stay up to date with reviews, competitions, the latest news, and so much more.